G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to week number 8 of the Meta Queensland High School Championships. Great to have you guys with us here for your Tuesday League of Legends action. Of course, plenty of big league action happening worldwide currently, and of course, we want to be a part of that as well with some awesome high school action. You're joined here for game number 1 by Baz and my man Midnight over here. Midnight, how you doing? Being here with us here for the High School Queensland League.
Going really well, mate, and I'm really excited today, Baz, because as we both know, this week is a pretty important week, especially for the two teams we get to witness today, because I believe the phrase "winner takes all" is very appropriate right about now.
Only slightly, I think. Only slightly for some of the teams. But I guess it depends. All jokes aside, though, that is true. Of course, teams are battling it out for those finals positions here. You know, saw some of the teams be able to qualify last week. The teams playing here tonight on stream as well, also looking for those final spots. If they win, they're in. They lose, they're out. It's that simple. And one of these teams here, you'll see for game number 1, we saw in action last week. They're going to have their second opportunity here live on stream to play for that finals position. But you know, the team they're going up against, they seem like they're going to be a very even matchup, and it could be a bit of a climb for either of these teams to take out that win. Yeah,
it should be, but I think it's also fair, as we're going to talk about these teams a little bit. Let's introduce the two teams that we've got here today. So on the blue side of Summoner's Rift is going to be, and I hope I pronounce this correctly because I never do, Wavell, I believe, which should be good. Now, I would declare, I'm pretty sure if you guys can see on the stream, the players, there has been a bit of a swap around with the roster, but that's, as you can see, guys, should be everyone for the game. For the side of blue, and of course facing up against them is going to be Marsden on the red side of Summoner's Rift there. And okay, there we go, we do have it up. So it's going to be, of course, blahbzehh in the top lane for Wavell, Revenant Reaper in the jungle, cwunchii, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, in the middle lane, GeneDaGenie is in the AD carry role, and of course Snowstorm 14 for Wavell. And Baz, would you like to introduce Marsden?
Yeah, Clover 25 on the top lane, Otaku Waffle in the jungle, very interesting name, LVyuki in the mid lane, Kakashii the bot lane, and Sunto as a support. Anime fans there at Midnight, maybe a little bit. But,
Baz, you're saying the same thing that Formal said to me when we casted Marsden previously, which is he looked at me and said, "You're a weeb, aren't you? Midnight, you're good. You'll support this team, right?" So
I'm literally sitting here in like a weeb jumper, man, I'm just calling the kettle black at this point, man. It's just it's fine. But yeah, I just want to say these guys are going to be very evened up from what we've seen. A little bit of our research as well. Very even in rank matchup as well. And really, I think it's just going to come down to, I guess, the draft, how they tackle that, and how they tackle the game itself. I mean, Wavell have had a bit of a roster shakeup, as we mentioned, since last week as well, with having the I don't even know how to pronounce that. cwunchii. I'm not too sure how to pronounce that one, but them being there in the mid lane now, cwunchii maybe, in the mid lane. But yeah, so they're going to have a bit of a mix-up here as well from last week. The real one not going to be playing this week, although we did see they have a very strong combo with the Twisted Fate and Nocturne, looking for that, I guess, some of that global pressure last week. But maybe they'll try and mix things up this week instead, as looks like the players are just joining into the lobby, and we could be jumping into champs like at any moment now, Midnight.
Yeah, we should be diving in very shortly, Baz. And what I'm really interested to see right now is what gets locked in. If you look at, of course, we do have MSI going on right now. As I'm sure if you guys did see that particular tiebreaker, we made it, boys. But the jungle role right now is super fun, Baz, because there's a mixture of everything. You can go for an AP jungler, you can go for an AD jungler, you can pretty much do whatever you want. And I'm really curious, do these teams put the same value on the Rumble, on the Nidalee? Because for champions like the Nidalee, it's a high-level execution. If you actually Rumble, you might be able to get away with not knowing the champion that well. But if you do not know how to pilot a Nidalee successfully in a jungle, you're going to die to the jungle camp. So I'm curious to see how confident these players are with going what is considered meta, what is considered super strong, and what is more in their comfort of, okay, I know the champion really well, I'm probably going to stick to it.
Yeah, and I think meta is so important here at the moment, but not also that. I think comfort picks are also a big thing. I think we've seen a lot of teams, I don't say oceanic-wide, over the past 2 weeks in many different leagues where they're kind of mixing things up with both meta, very heavy meta picks and their own comfort picks. And they seem to be working really well when a lot of teams, of course, when we've been out of pro season for a few weeks now and the build up to MSI, a lot of teams, they're just experimenting by themselves, right? And a lot of teams aren't ready to take on some of these, I don't want to say cheese picks, but maybe picks they're not expecting to see. And guys, we are in that champs deck now as well. We've already got the Lux ban out, the Volibear ban out here. I would say the Volibear is a big ban out against the side of Wavell here, as it looks like one of their players was a very big Volibear player, and I want to say, help me not, Volibear is a very big ban coming out as well. Such a strong top laner and jungler at the moment. Is very great for flex picks.
Yeah, a really good flexible champion there. The other ban that really catches my eye here is the double mid lane ban being thrown at Marsden, which is the Lux and the Katarina. I recall casting Yuki on Lux. It was, if I recall the game correctly, he did pretty decently on the champion. But he was in a pretty rough matchup, and of course the Katarina ban. Katarina, if you let her snowball, Baz, we've all suffered at the hands of a Katarina. Just don't let that happen. The final ban coming through is the Zoe. So a lot of mid lane squeeze. Now we'll have to see, because if this was like MSI, you look at a jungler, like a first big rumble immediately. But Wavell, again, I don't know how much they're going to put value on those kind of AP junglers, because the level of execution is just a little bit higher than perhaps some other junglers you can go for. Instead, just go with something safe, something solid, something like Sion.
Yeah, Sion, a very great pickup for that top lane. Always a very strong, reliable top laner as well to beat that front line, and even the engage coming out as well. But interesting to see that they actually pick up the tank there when, yeah, as you mentioned, Midnight, right? You normally look to prioritize maybe the AP lane, or even like an AD mid lane. I'm seeing a lot of AD mid laners coming out, and you can see it as well. The Yasuo being picked up from the guys from Marsden as well. Yuki probably going to definitely look to play that one in the mid lane. But the Rammus actually going to come out here as well. Midnight, Rammus, of course, having a bit of a fix-up over the past few weeks as well. And again, maybe this goes into what you were talking about before. We might not see some of these big AP junglers that we're seeing a lot more of recently, but maybe more of the, I guess, these comfort junglers that, you know, still have very great engage and maybe look to fit a particular play style these teams are going for.
And I love the Rammus, and the Nunu can fundamentally serve the same role, which is it's a body engage, as I like to call it. Basically, the engage isn't just throwing an ability from range and hoping it lands. It's physically getting in there and forcing the fight to start. Rammus obviously throws himself in the battle, and Nunu, with the biggest snowball ever, basically does the exact same thing. So neither of these teams will lack engage, because of course you've got Sion follow up. And I'd say, you know, we'll find out what Marsden do want to lock in here. They are looking for Yuki. If they grab themselves the Ahri, that is a lot of pick potential. If you walk into the wrong bush and it's watered, Ahri will find you, and Ahri will more than likely kill you. So I love to see this lock in here, but she needs to do well. We see Ahri's, they go for a more utility build. You go for the Everfrost, you go for the Cosmic Drive second item. It's fantastic cooldown reduction and wave clear, but it can lack in damage. So I really want to see Yuki either playing aggressive or having Otaku to back him up in the 2v2 in mid.
And that's what I'm curious about is, you know, Ahri again is one of those great burst assassins, but when you've already got a Sion, you've already got a Nunu there to kind of maybe eat some of that up, especially team fight wise. It's going to be interesting, I guess, how the members of Marsden are going to be able to try and get into the back lines of the opposing team here. Pyke and Kale being banned out here as Marsden look for that final ban. I'm going to assume the Yasuo could be going top lane, but I mean, we've seen some Yasuo's bot lane before here, Midnight. It's a possibility. You know, maybe mixing up how that goes. I think the Yasuo pick is great anyway, because normally he's a big counter into the Ahri as well, right? So definitely trying to take that one away, setting up the Ahri, but it's up to the guys now from the team of Wavell to kind of answer this. And I think they've got still some great picks available where they could do so. Blitzcrank and Morgana will wrap that one up here. I'm interested to see the Morgana band coming out as she's more of that, I want to say, that jungle-focused champion now as opposed to the support. And maybe just banning that one out for some potential team setups here. So you kind of have that Black Shield to stop CC as Poppy will end up being locked in here as well. Yeah,
so the fact that Poppy's been locked in here tells us it is likely a Yasuo bottom lane, which means the smart decision from Wavell is to lock in a safe duo lane with a lot of protection. Ezreal Yuumi is a perfect example of that. Ezreal should be able to keep himself safe from a Yasuo engage, and something like a Yuumi, I would love to see an Enchanter support here. You've got Nunu and Sion for the engage, you've got Neeko for follow-up. You do not need a hard crowd control champion. I feel like something with a bit of protection would do nicely. Swain isn't a traditional support, but he technically does fit the role of safety, because if you don't kill the Swain early in these 2v2 skirmishes in the bot side, Swain will kill you. So it's basically the same idea as a Brand or a Zyra, right? A high damage AP support that you have to focus, and if you focus him, you're not focusing the AD carry.
Yeah, and I mean, I even had Locks into that group as well,
Oh,
there Midnight as well, being banned. But Malphite will be the final pick up here for the champ phase. And yeah, I don't know, man. I'm seeing the lineups here, and I can see where both the teams have an idea of where they want to go, but I don't know if they're entirely confident in their lineups here, right? I mean, I'm seeing kind of mixed matches on both sides, and I guess maybe how the junglers are going to have to tackle this early game might actually decide how the game looks going forward.
9 times out of 10, Baz, I absolutely agree. I think the jungle is the most important role in League of Legends for the first 15 minutes. The issue is that this game has a little bit of a non-standard twitch to it, and that is the Yasuo Malphite bot lane. Now, Yasuo Malphite, I don't think I need to state to anybody what that combo does. At level 6, it is ridiculous. But what is kind of hidden is their level 2 all-in potential. Yasuo getting access to that dash, immediately gets on top of the Ezreal. If Ezreal's only level 1 and hasn't backed away respectfully, there is very much the potential of a flash from the Malphite and ignite drop down onto the Ezreal or the Swain and just nuke their health bar. So I feel like, yes, we need to follow the Nunu and Rammus in the early game, but I feel like also we need to see how safe GeneDaGenie and Snowstorm can play in this bottom lane, because if they are not respectful of the level 2 and the level 6 from the bottom lane of Marsden, there is a very real possibility they may be forced to go back to base, not entirely of their own decision-making.
And I feel like that's where a lot of the game is going to be focused, this bot lane anyway, even with the junglers, right? Because obviously the side of Marsden, they know this. They know that they've clearly practiced. They've got the Yasuo Malphite ready to go. It's definitely a very unorthodox bot lane. Yes, you know, the opposing side, they pick up the Swain to kind of, like, I want to say maybe try and match that, but when you have that all-in potential from Yasuo Malphite, Nunu's basically going to have to babysit this bot lane, right? And, you know, if Otaku Waffle knows that on this Rammus, you know, Rammus has so much great mobility just with his Q alone, right? Being able to potentially quickly deal with the Nunu as soon as possible. We could be seeing 3-man, 4-man fights here down bot side in the first 5 to 10 minutes. And, I mean, I always love a bloodbath, and I think it'd be great fun to see that. But I don't know if the side of Wavell really want to be caught in that, because again, they're going to have to basically just sit on the tower and turtle up, right? Otherwise, it might be curtains and lights out from the early game.
Yeah, that's for the bottom lane, but there is still some saving graces, and that's in this middle lane with cwunchii up against Yuki. Now, Neeko Ahri, if I'm recalling this correctly, is actually Neeko favored. Neeko can shove the wave in more effectively. She's got better pick potential on the Ahri, because obviously the Neeko stun can pass through minions while Ahri's charm cannot. So Yuki should be pressured in lane, and that can cause Marsden maybe not to be able to support their bot lane as much, because as I talked about when the Ahri was first locked in, if you can't support the Ahri, if you can't let the Ahri get ahead, she really struggles in the mid game when she's got those 2 core items. So as much as I would love to see, you know, the 4-5 man just pile on bot lane, which is great, I feel like Marsden are going to have to allocate at least some of the earlier game resources, maybe not at level 6, but maybe like level 4, level 5, when the second round of buffs are coming up. Otaku probably should visit the mid lane once or twice. If nothing else, force cwunchii's flash off, and then give Yuki some kill threat in the mid lane against that Neeko. You got to give this Ahri something to work with.
Yeah, and you know, Yuki, I think, will also be a lot more comfortable with the Ahri ult available later on, having the mobility to quickly just be in the right position to chuck out that charm. And I feel as if they're able to catch out Genie, they're able to catch out Neeko even with that charm. When those guys go down, you know, it's basically Wavell just gonna have to run away, basically their pants down, with nothing really for them to do, as they other team, of course, and Marsden are just going to be able to look towards the dragon, look towards an easy Rift Herald maybe as well. But guys, we are getting ready now, jumping onto the Rift for your first game of the night here for the Queensland Meta High School League of Legends Championships here for week number 8. As we get ourselves organized here onto the Rift here. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be an amazing first matchup here for your Tuesday night action. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here onto the Rift for your first game here of the Meta High School Queensland League Championships here for week number 8. You've got to remember here, stakes are super high here on the line. Both these teams now, they've got to compete here for one of those final spots available. Whoever wins this moves forward, whoever loses, they're going to look towards the next season and potentially look for a finals opportunity here. Still joined by Baz and Midnight here for your first game of league action. And unfortunately, Midnight, we're not going to have any 5-man antics in the early game. But, it's good to see just a 5-man spread across, looking for the easy defense, a couple early wards. And looks like we're just going to have a stock standard early start here, kick things up.
Yeah, both of these teams don't really want to go for that risky level 1 invade because there is the possibility of running into a 5-stack. And ironically, if you run into the 5-stack, you lose, which is, in this case, it's just really weird to say, but that's how it's going to go. You don't want to run into Ahri, Rammus, and Yasuo level 1 because they have fantastic damage when you filter in the line. And on the other side, of course, if you invade against, you run into the Swain and the Neeko, Neeko takes her E level 1, Swain takes his E level 1, and there is enough crowd control there to just make sure that you don't get to move and you get the AFK warning because the game's like, hey, guys, you got to move, come on. So the level 1 invade was always just a bit risky, and it was an unnecessary risk because we talked about this bottom lane. We talked about how volatile we expect the bottom lane to be, and that reflects in the summoner spells. Ignite for the Malphite versus the Exhaust brought in by the Swain. So very much so, the level 2, this Ignite has to be getting a lot of kill pressure in level 2, and of course at level 6, we just expect the typical Malphite throws himself in as the projectile to set up the Yasuo.
Yeah, and I was going to be on myself as well, Midnight, just how perfect that exhaust pickup is for Swain and for the Wavell lineup, right? It's basically, I want to say almost a direct counter to some of that level 2 super engage, right? As Swain's just going to be, drop that on the Yasuo nice and easily and just stop that engage straight away. And you can see they're already getting some nice poking and kind of matching it up here in the bot lane. But, as we mentioned, still watch out. You can still look for potential level 2 engage. And they might even catch him out and not expect just a huge amount of damage that these guys can easily put out here. But looks like Midnight, though, that Marsden are actually on a bit of a back foot here. So maybe they can't deal with some of this poke early on.
Yeah, they're struggling there. So the level 2 was hit first by the bottom lane of Wavell, which gives them a lot of room, a lot of flexibility. And of course, Snowstorm needs to keep the pressure on. If you can keep Kakashii on this Yasuo low health, despite the fleet footwork, despite the Doran's healing, you're actually in a fantastic position because the Malphite Yasuo combo doesn't work if Yasuo has no health to work with an Lord mid lane.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about here. The engage coming into the mid lane, and cwunchii just going to fall nice and easy there. Yuki going to pick up that first blood straight away. Also a little bit of action bots like Kakashii maybe getting a little bit caught out there. But that's exactly what we're talking about in champs like their Midnight, right? Having some of the resources, send it to the mid lane to help out Yuki, get the Ahri ahead just a little bit. But now the guys from the side of Wave are going to try and respond to this to take out Otaku Waffle here. The Rammus is in big trouble. Yuki does chuck out a charm, but doesn't really go anywhere. And with no mana on the Ahri, isn't going to be able to save his jungler there, as we're now at 1-1 for both teams here at 3:48 into the game.
What looked so good, that early gank from Otaku was exactly what they needed in that middle lane. Give Yuki some signs of life that he's actually allowed to play the middle lane. But the thing that went wrong, unfortunately, wasn't the idea to go get Scuttlecrab. That is not inherently a bad idea. The roaming. We saw the Sion immediately make his way down that river, making sure that he's going to be there for the contest. cwunchii immediately TP'd in, and Yuki had no mana, no way to rotate up, and couldn't do much, especially after that early TP came through. So a little bit heartbreaking for Waffle there. He's now going to get double scuttled. He's just going to be really behind in momentum. So this ironically means that Waffle needs to gank again. Now, will he be able to gank mid lane again? I don't think so. cwunchii's going to be more than aware it's coming. I feel like he has to look for the bottom lane and try and do something with this Yasuo Malphite combo. Because by the time he recalls, resets, gets a couple more camps, they might be close to level 6.
And I mean, they could always look for a mid repeat, of course, with cwunchii not having that flash available for some time. But I do agree with you, I definitely think that bot lane would be a better option. I mean, we talked about the exhaust, right? How it'd be great to stop that level 2 engage, but we're all past that now. And exhaust can only hit one champion after. If there's 3 to deal with, especially with the big Rammus taunt, it might be impossible for the members of Wavell's bot side here to try and deal with that much pressure. But I mean, Genie and Snowstorm still putting on quite a show here. Bot lane still pushing out Kakashii and Sonto into their bot lane tower. It's not. I want to say, I don't think it's the exact way I was expecting this bot lane to go. I was expecting it to maybe be the other way around, but maybe Kakashii and Sonto just weren't expecting, I guess, the amount of great poke damage coming out of both Genie and Snowstorm. Maybe that Swain was a perfect pickup here instead of maybe one of these caster sports.
Yeah, the Swain is putting out a lot of pressure, which is the problem, right? Your Yasuo cannot engage if Yasuo isn't sitting at health. Like, he's sitting at 2/3 HP consistently at most, because Snowstorm is just poking him down, making it so hard to actually pick the fight that they want to take. They need to get almost on top, but they don't have the damage output. The early Doran shield from Kakashii tells me that maybe he's not so confident at the ability to get on top of an Ezreal who has flash, who has heal, who has exhaust, who has his dash, or his blink, as well. So I think they could just try and survive laning phase, get the first, get that immortal shield bow, and then try and look to start a couple fights there.
Some great utility, but we're looking down bot lane as well. The jungler's already matching up here. Revenant Reaper was looking for one of those great snowballs, but while it does provide some of the pressure, is going to have to back away slightly for now. But I think Otaku Waffle waiting in the wind, so you could see that engage we were just talking about midnight here very, very shortly as looks like it's actually going to come through. The big key coming out from Rammus Kakashii. They're going to aim for the Swain, but he's going to flash away. Genie's going to get back to tower as well. Even with the Taunt of the Tornado, not going to do much. Genie's going to look to maybe turn it around. Otaku Waffle just getting away on the slides, but it helped. But here comes a Sion. Teleport straight down to bot lane. This is what we're talking about here, where the top lane is going to match up to try and get rid of this once and for all. Otaku Waffle is going to fall here. And as well, the members of Wavell are going to get themselves a nice easy Ocean Drake for their troubles as well.
Yeah, that couldn't have gone better for Wavell. Secure yourself the Ocean Dragon, successfully counter gank. Now, the only thing that kind of hurts was the fact that you did use blahbzehh teleport from the top lane, but honestly, that's completely fine. An objective, a kill just for the teleport there, that is absolutely a worthwhile trade there. As for Otaku, it's heartbreaking to look at that gank come in. That gank is the perfect idea in about 2 minutes' time, when your bot lane is level 6, when your bot lane has the ability to just say, go and engage. The issue is that Kakashii was only level 5, and Sonto was level 4 when that gank attempt came through. So it's just a really difficult gank to successfully perform when you, as the Rammus, are the only form of I'm going in.
And, that's exactly what you're talking about here. Kakashii had such a great tornado hit as well onto Genie. If he just had the ultimate, they could have maybe taken out the Ezreal there, but because they started a little bit too early, they end up missing out here. And you're talking about the teleports as well. I think as well, another big example as well is that Clover's teleport had already been used just to get the top side as well, right? So the blahbzehh was like, okay, that's fine. I've just got a free teleport down bot side, and we can easily set up a free objective and a free kill, and they run away with it quite nicely here. And as we're getting towards the end game stages of the early game, it looks like Wavell, they're starting to slowly get themselves ahead with that first dragon, a slight gold lead as well, as we're just going to have a bit of a wet noodle fight up top side, but Otaku Waffle is going to look to get the engage here, the big taunt onto blahbzehh here. He does have flash, he can just get to the wall in time, and will be able to escape the action from the Rammus and the Poppy. So some great pressure up top side, but Sion's still just going to chill up there in the top lane anyway, so has a cookie to burn, the corrupting potion as well, and now knowing that jungler is up top side, we could see Revenant Reaper maybe look to a mid lane or bot lane gank to capitalize on that, as looks like the Rammus is still stuck up there top side for the moment.
I think the Reaper's actual best decision wouldn't be to go for those ganks. Well, yes, typically, you see the jungler top side, you gank the other side of the map. That is typically the standard play to do. Here, ironically, it is actually not a good decision, because look at the game state, Baz. Look at this middle lane. 20 CS advantage for cwunchii on this Neeko. He's played the lane great, even after dying to that early gank. It's just a really favorable matchup. Instead, trying to put pressure on top.
Yeah, instead here, and Reaper going to be like, okay, jungler's going to go up top lane. I'll do the same thing here. Poppy goes for the flash, but the big ultimate from Nunu is going to come out. And look at that burst damage coming out there. Revenant Reaper securing his first kill of the game there. And a max charge Nunu ultimate, just going to ice up the Poppy. See you later. And Sion now going to get himself some free CS and maybe a tail fighting for his troubles as well.
And what I was trying to say was that Reaper should stay on top half of the map, not necessarily to gank, although the gank was a brilliant execution as we saw, but actually to secure the Rift Herald. You would have pressure topside. They burnt a lot straight there. Are they going to get this?
Yeah, blahbzehh's going to be caught under the tower for now, but, you know, just breaks the ultimate. See you later. Just going to go for a run. You know, no big issue. Reaper is going to come and rotate back topside again. And I think this is deja vu. I think we literally just saw this a couple of minutes ago. But Rammus is going to get to tower just in time. They won't get the kill, but they are going to just, I guess, remove that pressure they had up topside. Reaper's going to go for a run just back to the tower as well. And while that was happening, bot lane looked like there might have been a slight issue as well, whereas Kakashii maybe got caught out as Yuki. Going to charm out Revenant Reaper here. Going to get a kill now. The second kill for the Ahri this game. Definitely big for the mid laner of Marsden there. Definitely needed that one to try and maybe catch up with cwunchii here. Of course, the opposing mid laner. And just going to rotate back to mid lane for now. Maybe look to potentially catch out the Neeko. But with that control ward there, should be able to escape nice and easily.
That kill has now stabilized the 30 CS difference between the two mid laners. There's now only a 200 gold difference between the Ahri and the Neeko, and that's courtesy of the 2 kills that Yuki has picked up, and that last one in particular was just fantastic. It made the roam worthwhile. It was just exactly what Yuki needed. A bit unfortunate that, because it was you saw the missing things, you could hear them going off and off and off, but I just don't think Reaper realized that Yuki was that close that quickly. So a little bit unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is coming through here to the 12-minute mark as dragon number 2 is about to spawn. It is, of course, going to be a mountain dragon. And I would expect teams to put a lot of priority on this, but the one thing to note, Baz, coming into what could be a dragon fight is that there is no teleport on the Sion for, how long is that going to be? Like 45 seconds. So if Marsden go now, they have the chance to get there with no Sion intervention.
And you can see the rotations already, right? They're already looking to set up, already looking to get that vision down. And the members now of Marsden are going to start this Mountain Drake, of course. These big defensive stats are going to be huge for both teams they really need right now. But also the members here of Marsden are maybe trying to bait out the dragon or decide to back away for now. As we do see Swain catch out the Malphite slightly, but they are going to back away for now. There's not going to be a fight here, but you can already see both teams are already trying to converge on this Mountain Drake and look to start something. But of course, you've got to remember here Midnight as well. Both these teams playing for final spot, right? They're going to try the absolute hardest, and the nerves are going to be at their highest here. And playing on stream, which is going to add to that as well. So maybe some of these players, some of these teams and players would normally go for it. They maybe might think twice about it, as they're a little bit worried about what could the consequences be if they stuff up here.
Yeah, well, they have elected from the side of Marsden to back away. Sontol did recall after getting caught out by the Swain, and Dragon number 2 given over. And if these nerves, if it is nerves indeed, because Marsden had the opening to engage, they had the teleport advantage from Clover. Clover teleports in, blahbzehh can do nothing to contest it, and they commit to the fight with a Malphite Yasuo combo to open it up. Follow up from Waffle on the Rammus could have been a good opening, you know, a fantastic opening volley to a fight. But they need to be proactive with it. Yes, they might have their nerves, but unfortunately for them, they need to find a way to get over them, because look at the composition that they're running, Baz. It is relatively short-ranged. It has got minimal late-game effective wave clear, especially against the Baron buff. Unfortunately, while I normally approve of playing safe, playing smart, with this particular composition that Marsden has put together, they aren't given the opportunity to play things slow. They've got to pick fights. They've got to be the ones starting fights. Consequences be damned.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was talking about as well, where these guys have to be at the top of their game, nerves or not, but even still, right? That's easier said than done, right? I mean, not just being able to just turn off those nerves just like that, but it's that and the pressure. But as you said, if you pick a comp like this, that's really going to be super aggressive. You want to look to try and push it in the early to mid game, you've got to capitalize on that. And unfortunately, not been able to do so. And Wavell are just slowly getting ahead with those double dragons, with a slight gold lead. Luckily, the guys from Marsden have been able to slightly keep up with that for now over in the bot lane. Of course, with Kakashii being able to get quite a bit of farm up, even with the poke potential. And you can see now how they're finally bringing the pressure back down to the bot lane, and how I guess the lane has kind of just flipped up on its head for now. But as we do look to get into the mid-game stages, we're probably going to look to see a lot more roaming potential, a lot more team fight potential. All the towers are still up. So a lot of these guys at the moment, they're kind of just still just playing in this lane phase mentality, right?
Yeah, it's quite standard. If turrets don't go down early, there's not a lot of things to play around. You just take it slow, continue the laning phase, drag it out, and that isn't necessarily bad for either of these teams inherently. It's all a lot mid lane.
Just hang on here, yeah, mid lane. Yuki almost in big trouble, but there's the ultimate we're talking about. Easy going to be able to escape any further three-man engage, but the likes of Wavell going to be like, okay, that's fine. Let's just take the three-man group we've had, send it down bot lane. Look for a potential tier 1 bot lane tower, maybe catch out the Yasuo as well. As there's absolutely no vision there as it does get blocked out by the lens. The Nunu going to look for the snowball, but the nice tornado coming out from Kakashii will easily cancel out that engage. But again, Wavell, great roam, great rotations coming out from the lads. Unfortunately, don't capitalize on anything, but still did enough to force some of the backs there for Marsden. Look towards them maybe getting some items for themselves and maybe look to apply this pressure somewhere else very shortly.
You were just talking about how no turret has fallen yet. That play from Wavell, its entire purpose is to secure the first turret. Commit down bot lane, get the double kill. You have 5 members available to you down there. Push the turret in. There is nothing that Marsden can do in response. But as we saw, a beautiful Q from Kakashii does successfully get him and his support out alive. And laning phase, pseudo laning phase at 16 minutes will continue, as it is simply an objective trading game. But it is an objective trading game that Wavell is winning. 2 dragons about to secure a Rift Herald, as we can see Revenant Reaper, just vibing in the pit there. And Waffle, he's trying to find something. He's stealing away camps. He's looking for a gank in the middle lane once again. But cwunchii's not in position. cwunchii's just recalled there. So the position, the one thing he wants to try and trade for the Rift Herald, it isn't an option.
Yeah, and on top of this as well, we're starting to see some of these completed items coming out for some of these guys. As Reaper's going to look to send that snowball up top side. They're going to look to take out the Poppy. Nice ultimate gets rid of the Nunu, but he's still got a Sion there. He's just going to just beat you to no end here. The flash does come out, tries to get a stun here, but Sion doesn't care. Going to take out the top laner, and finally the first tower of the game is going to fall here, as Wavell will be able to pick up the first tower of the game. But as you mentioned as well, Midnight, we do see that Herald available for Reaper. So the first tier 1 tower could fall. We can easily see that rotation down to mid lane or bot lane very shortly, with another big siege potential here with that Herald drop. Looks like it is going to go mid lane here though. They're going to look to try and push out Yuki and look to secure that mid lane tower as well.
Yeah, and this should start to really break the gold difference between these 2 teams here. 2,000 gold currently. It has been a low kill game though. Only 6 in total. But again, kills aren't the only way to get this game. In this case, it's the objectives that is super critical for Wavell. And for Marsden, they need to start pulling the trigger now. They have reached the point where their composition needs to be proactive. Clover, you've got TP. You've got to make a move, mate.
Yeah, that big TP coming out there. Clover's self, but maybe coming out a little bit too late here. Rammus gets a great engage over. Kakashii follows up there. Santo will secure that one. cwunchii will take out the Malphite here, though, as Clover is in big trouble. As cwunchii gets 2. cwunchii gets 3 here. A typical coming out for the Neeko. Looking for a quadra kill coming out for the Neeko here. The mid laner from Wavell State going absolutely ham there to decimate the members of Marsden State High as they look towards getting their 3rd dragon, that Infernal Drake here. And Marsden now are in big trouble. A great engage came out, but easily countered by the members of Wavell to get themselves 4 kills and an Infernal Drake.
It started so good for Wavell and then shifted against them. They got the engage off against Sontal. Sontal forced a flash over the wall. The TP coming in from Clover was out of position. It could have been so good at the very start. And then the turnaround. Sontal, I believe, got a 2 or 3 man knockup. Kakashii immediately jumped on top of them, and the deletions came through. But there's just one very minor problem in how all of that worked. As we see our 2 junglers. He's got 2 level advantage on you, Waffle. You're going to have to really...
I think he's just all puns aside.
He wants it.
He's going to try and go for it. The chem tank actually bursted there. 3 members from the side of Marsden are going to look to try and take out the Reaper on the Nunu, but he's going to fall. The Ignite tick's going to do enough there. Yuki will secure that one. Reaper maybe getting a little bit too comfortable there, I want to say, that top side junglers. Neeko's maybe looking to catch out Waffle here. Gets a bit of burst, but will be able to back away in the end. But Throw something at midnight. And the Nunu just being like, yeah, come on, boys. Was that 3 guys, 4 guys? Yeah, I'll take you all on. Yeah, no issues, no issues. Oh, wait, you're actually full engaging. Oh, no, I'm dead. That's pretty much the end of that.
Reaper was feeling very confident after the last fight. Unfortunately, he was also sitting on about 1,500, 1,600 gold in his inventory, which you just shouldn't do as, oh no, Snowstorm.
Yeah, there's the big ult coming out there. Both from, oh my god. I didn't even get to say anything. Just a big ass, ult combo. 4 ult being dropped here because I think the guys from Wavell, they're just like, oh, that's fine, guys. We'll just clear out the bot lane. Clear out the bot lane at tier 1 tower as well. Marsden do respond by getting the mid lane tier 1 tower, their first tower of the game. But Midnight, yeah, that's a thing. I would say that is the engage that we're talking about. That's going to come out from Wavell, where in the end, right, Marsden, it's going to be next to impossible for them to kind of deal with it.
And give a second, Yuki's looking for Snowstorm here. Can he do it?
Yeah, Snowstorm looking to try and take on Yuki here. The Rammus is going to look for the follow-up, but again, Genie going to follow up here. We're going to see cwunchii teleport in as well. 3 members down here bot lane to push out the advancement here from Marsden. Waffle is going to have to burn that flash on the Rammus to get away, and 4 members playing tower defense here on this tier 2 bot lane tower. Problem is, there's a Baron that's spawned there, just on the other side of the map. Yes, I do have vision at the moment, but you can see slowly the members of Wavell now are just going to look for the rotate and maybe secure themselves the first Baron of the game.
Ooh, I love the confidence you have for them, Baz, but I'm not sure Baron is on the table just yet. It is only 21 minutes, and while they do have a good gold advantage, if you look at the damage output from their champions, it actually isn't designed to nuke the Baron. Neeko isn't really fantastic at nuking the Baron. Ezreal, again, he's not the I'm a nuke Baron real quick kind of champion. He's a really safe champion. Oh my lord, Waffle is hungry!
That was a chem tank burn. That was one of your abilities being burned is on to try and just cash out cwunchii. But yep, they're going to be pushed to the side for now. But you got to remember the land. We're in the land of OC, land of Oshani. If we're not having teams starting Baron at exactly 20 minutes, why are you in this region? Go somewhere else. We got to have these early Barons. That's how we work. And we're going to get. We've got a moniker. You get the Baron at 20, which doesn't end up happening because you end up throwing the game because of it. And that's just how we roll. But of course, we've changed that recently thanks to Pentanet's actions and MSI, right? So, we're slowly starting to change that narrative. But all jokes aside, no, they did have some of the members up there. They could have looked to maybe sneak one out, but I think the mid lane attempt there from Otaku Waffle when it went a little bit sideways kind of just almost matched that. But yeah, at the moment, again, a lot of these guys are going to look to just back for now, get a couple new items they can, look for the reset, and try and just, I think about where to go to from here. As of course, Wavell do have a great gold advantage at the moment. They have 3 dragons available, and I think looking here midnight, and might be looking for that 40-second Infernal Drake for our next major moment.
Absolutely, Baz. Wavell here, they only need to play around dragons. It's an Infernal Dragon Soul as well, which puts more priority on the dragon than usual for most teams. Because, of course, the extra damage, the impact of the soul cannot be understated, in my opinion. So we will see Marsden contest this dragon. Hell, they're already kind of in position, but they are 4,000 gold down. I'm not sure if they have to get like a perfect Malphite Yasuo combo onto cwunchii and ideally GeneDaGenie and 100 to 0 them. Do not give this Neeko a chance to use her stopwatch, Zhonya's hourglass, I should say, because if you do, she's going to use her ult, and we know what happens when Neeko gets ulting.
And we can just point out the amount of burst damage is going to be coming out of this Neeko alone in this next fight as well. I mean, I've already seen a quadra kill just a few minutes ago, right? And now that damage has been ramped up even further. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal, the Hourglass and the Proto Belt as well, ready to go. And you can already see the members of Marsden already having control with the vision at the moment. And we're going to see the engage coming out from the members of Marsden here. But look at the damage coming out. Once again, Genie going to take out the Malphite. A double kill instantly going over to cwunchii here as a double goes over to Genie as well. And Kakashii, the only surviving member here from the lineup of Marsden. The Copy Ninja, unfortunately, not going to be enough to deal with the 5 members here of Wavell. And we literally just brought it up right midnight. The amount of burst damage coming out from the guys of Wavell Marsden are just unable to deal with it. They're going to get the Infernal Dragon Soul, which is going to make that situation even worse. And we're looking now for Wavell to close out the game very, very soon.
Yeah, that fight from Marsden, it looked initially like it could have been something great. Sontor got access to the backline there. They kind of threw cwunchii in a little bit of an awkward spot where he was forced to flash. But the problem is, right now, Marsden doesn't have the damage to win the fights here. Ahri has gone for a very defensive build with a Zhonya's as a second item instead of the Cosmic Drive. It also means that the Ahri just lacks raw damage output. She has for a while. That's why she's a utility-focused mid laner now, as Blah might be getting caught out here, but he does have reinforcements on the way.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very tanky boy. He's just going to eat up 3 members worth of damage. And, I mean, that's what you're just talking about, right? The damage, it's just not there. Sion, he's got that Thorn Mail. He's got the Sunfire Aegis, as well as the Merc Treads. He just picked himself up a Giant's Belt. Like, this man is untouchable. Like, this Sion is just a beast at the moment. He's been at the gym, hitting it hard. And the members of Marsden are kind of like, well, all right, bro, that's fine. We'll go elsewhere. You do you, and we'll just go somewhere else on the map. Because at the moment, if you got the Yasuo on top there, you got the Rammus on top and the Malphite as well. Yes, they didn't have the Ahri, but still, you've got who's meant to be really one of your main carries, unable to do anything, only having, of course, that Immortal Shield Bow and I guess some of the remnants of an Infinity Edge potentially coming out. It's not looking too good at all. And when you're 10 kills down, almost we're getting towards that 10k gold difference as well. Not even to mention, right, the 4 dragons as well. Marsden are basically going to have to just try and turtle up as much as they can. Maybe stop looking for some of these engages here as Waffle went for it and immediately has to just turn around and burn out his flash just to get away. I mean, where are they going to have to look to from here? Maybe have to try and potentially win a Baron fight, which we've already seen team fights at the moment aren't their strength here in this game, unfortunately, or maybe even that Elder Drake in 357 time.
They need time more than anything else. I feel like a fight, a 5v5 composition fight, is the last thing that Marsden is allowed to do here. You do that, you lose the game. What you need to do here is you need to look for picks, and this is where your Ahri could, start to come back up a little bit here. She has, as I said before, she's gone for a very defensive itemization here with the Ludens into the Hourglass, but that does mean that she's got good cooldown reduction and she's got great pick potential if you can set up like a control ward in the bush and establish vision control over your top half of the jungle. And I'd recommend doing it soon because Wavell, they're not going to wait around for this Elder Dragon. They're doing Baron now.
Yeah, they're going to look to take this one out here, of course, looking for that end game now at the moment as they clear that one out. You see some of the members now from Marsden are finally trying to look to respond here, but with no vision available. Nice charm coming out from Yuki, but not going to do too much here. As Otaku Waffle is just going to get absolutely demolished here. Has to run away from his life. The guys from Wavell are going to get this Baron anyway. Clover's going to be caught out, nuked out there. cwunchii, legendary now. 8-1 and 4 here on this Neeko. Absolutely insane. And that's what we're talking about just at the beginning of the stream here is all right, Midnight. We saw these guys last week. They had a bit of a rough time, but they were able to turn things around in the late game and keep themselves in it for quite some time. Unfortunately, just missing out on their win. But when they've had this control from the beginning, they've had some of the roster shakeups, bringing in cwunchii instead of the real one. It seems this mix-up might have been what they needed to look towards just a completely dominant game here. Again, like I mentioned, almost 10k gold difference now. And with this Baron, they're going to look towards a potential final team fight and look to close things out. Yeah,
and the problem is because they keep getting caught out, because Marsden continually get in fights that they're just not favored to do. The itemization, I'll come to that later as Waffle's going in.
Yeah, in again, Waffle going in to try and start an engage, but there's no real follow-up here. Sontor goes for an ult to try and kick cwunchii out of the fight, but I'm not going to do much here. Yuki will finally get a kill, but here comes Snowstorm. Here comes cwunchii again. The Yasuo and the Rammus both going to fall here. Reaper doing an insane amount of damage on this Nunu now, as well as Clover is in a 1v2 situation. Trying, I guess, just trying to get away from some of the surviving members here of Wavell, but won't be able to do that at all as Reaper gets the 3rd kill of the game. Yuki is forced to retreat here, and once again, Midnight, I feel like the guys from Marsden, again, Waffle, just trying to force an engage where there's just no fight there, and Wavell, again, get away with a bunch of kills. Yes, Ezreal was finally taken down, but was it really worth it in the long run where you lost 4 other members, you lose a tier 2 mid lane tower, and can potentially look towards an inhibitor tower going as well?
Yeah, not exactly worthwhile. I was trying to say before that fight, that you can't realistically look for fights as Marsden, not unless you have a significant numbers advantage, or you delete GeneDaGenie or cwunchii before the fight begins, because you just don't have the raw damage output to kill your opponents. Yes, most of your members are now sitting on 2 full items, with the exception of Sontol, who's in that support role, but on the other side, their opponents are sitting on 2 items, 3 for most of them. You've got 3 for your top, 3 for your jungler, and Ezreal is probably, let's take a look at his goal. Yeah, Ezreal has enough for his Trinity Force or his Divine Sunder if he chooses to recall now, which he did have the time. He doesn't anymore if he wants to be here for the dragon fight. But you just don't have the damage output. But now you don't have a choice. You give up Elder Dragon, you've given up you give up your base. So you have to do something. This ambush has to work.
Yeah, Marsden have to get this Elder Drake. It's not a matter of, oh, maybe, you know, who knows? No, they have to. If they lose it, they're done. They're out for the season. They have to look towards the next one. But the members of Wavell, they know that quite well, and they're quite literally standing in the dragon pit, being like, "All right, boys, we'll just take it from you." But the engage finally coming out now. Marsden looking to pull the trigger. A big up from Sontol, and they're able to steal the Elder Dragon. Marsden able to hold on here, trying to maybe look for some kills, but unfortunately, the majority of their members do end up falling. Kakashii runs away. Clover will run away as well, but okay, yes, he will be able to escape that, cause a nice E to be able to use on the minion to get himself that extra movement up and escape from the Neeko and the Nunu as well. But what an amazing steal there, Midnight, from Marsden, taking away the Elder Drake, which is on the Yasuo on the Kakashii. It's going to be huge, as maybe it might be the extra damage he needed to maybe get himself back into it. Snowstorm will fall. Look to take out the Sion as well, but of course you got to remember that Thornmail, the Titanic Hydra as well, doing so much work. Looks for the follow-up here, trying to get that extra damage. The flash coming out from blahbzehh, but burns out his Q by accident, going in the exact wrong direction here. They are going to be able to disengage from this fight. In the end, of course, they need to keep Kakashii alive with this Elder Drake. But it looks like Marsden, well, they haven't fully got themselves back into the game just yet. It's definitely what they needed to try and keep themselves in it. Reaper in big trouble right now. Clover maybe looking for that execute onto the Nunu. If he's able to get that just in time. Kakashii is able to get that shutdown gold. Huge for the Yasuo. Exactly what he needed to keep himself in this fight. And better yet, get himself back into this game here. As he has that IE completed, going to have 2.5k gold to spend in the shop as well. Get some bling bling for himself. And Midnight, you know, after I guess some of that extended skirmishing going on, huge moment here for Marsden to potentially hold on to the game for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, this Elder Dragon is massive. Now, is it going to, Marsden's going to win this? No, it is not an inherent. Now Marsden is allowed to win the game. Marsden isn't even allowed to fight without their Elder Dragon members available. The moment that the Elder Dragon wears out, Marsden once again has to enter full retreat mode. 10,000 gold, 9,000 gold actually. Difference between these two teams. They're going to have to somehow survive a Baron push, assuming that Waffle is unable to steal this objective here. Like, it's a sign of hope, Baz, but it is far from over in this situation. You still need to stall out the game till basically 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and then I think Marsden has a chance to get back in. Make this goal difference irrelevant as everyone hits those 6 item breakpoints. But I just don't know if they're going to survive that, because remember, that entire team fight, GeneDaGenie didn't have his Divine Sunder up. cwunchii now has just straight up a Blighting Jewel, which is, massive magic penetration. There is just so much more damage now for the side of Wavell than there was in the last fight. Marsden, you're going to have to pull off a miracle to steal this Baron and stall for even more time. But
looks like the Baron is coming up ready to go here, and I want to bring up as well, Kakashii, he's got his Lightning Blade ready, he's got his Sharon Gun ready, but he's going to be public enemy number 1 for the rest of this fight here. Otaku Waffle, yeah, he's just going to be caught out. He knows, he's done, he's out, he's just going to die here. Genie gets another kill, 7-12 now for that Ezreal, and once again now Marsden have to back away, but when you've got a Sion ult coming in, into a Nunu snowball, into the Neeko ult, you're going to just lose your 2 members of Marsden instantly there. Yuki and Sontol going to fall, and when we're going to look for a potential tower defense simulator, that's probably going to end up finishing now with Sion. Going to burn a teleport onto the ward because I guess why not? Add that extra BM here to secure the rest of this match. The inhibitor going to look to the next Clover, looking for the poppy up, but going to miss every single member there of Marsden as the inhibitor is going to fall. And Midnight, I've said it a few times now, but we are looking for that finish here for the members of Wavell now as they're looking to crack open those final Nexus towers with 2 big minion waves coming in here. Kakashii looking to try and get himself back into it, but a big ult from Reaper going to have to push him aside. Clover as well, trying to be that frontline advantage. The members of Wavell are going to back away for now, not wanting to risk a fight that they might potentially lose, or think they might lose at least. And the members of Marsden are going to be able to survive again just for a little bit longer. But we've got, again, almost a 12k gold difference right now. They have the soul, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Midnight, but we're going to have a second Elder Drake team fight potentially happening in this game.
More than likely we will. But again, it is survival mode for Marsden. We cannot stress this enough, as Marsden is not on equal footing to Wavell. They are not allowed to take a 5v5 fight. Otaku has to, much like before, steal the dragon for this fight to ever take place. And they had to have a numbers advantage. If that is Sontol, this is a disaster.
Oh my, look at the damage. Just instantly. A nice ult from Sion, the burst coming out from Snowstorm. Gonna take care of that nice and easily. And honestly, I'm quite surprised here, Midnight, that the members here of Wavell are playing as safe as they are with such a big advantage, knowing they have team fight control from the beginning of the game and maybe looking for that final push now. Big ult from Genie will be eaten up by the Windwall. Otaku Waffle looks for that big engage with the chem tank, but unfortunately, just like we've seen the past few times, won't really go anywhere. The members now stuck under tower. The zone is being burned from Yuki now, but we see him try and flash away here. There's a big ult coming out from cwunchii as well, but Ezreal gets one, takes out the Nexus turret. The second Nexus turret now going to fall here, and Wavell are going to look to advance themselves into the finals of the Queensland Meta High School Championships here. Genie will take out Poppy. A final fight coming out from Marsden to try and keep him into it. Kakashii gets one more, but it's not going to matter here. Wavell will secure the win here and get themselves into the final series.
Yeah, and that was a hell of a game there, Baz. Back and forth isn't the right way to describe it, but those last couple of minutes of Marsden fighting like hell, clawing tooth and nail to make sure that they didn't get taken out, so stealing themselves the Elder Dragon, using that Elder Dragon to buy as much time as possible was fantastic. But there were a few problems. I think one of the bigger ones for me, and I mentioned it during, about 15 minutes into the game, was Marsden lacks range. They haven't got any ranged ability attackers beyond Yuki. And Ahri, as I mentioned, isn't a high damage champion right now. She's a utility champion to set up, to assist to have follow-up assist her. And just their hesitation. We saw time and time again, for example, Dragon number 2, there was the possibility of Sontol trying to commit nice and early. Instead, he backed away, was forced to recall, and gave up the second dragon of the game. So Marsden maybe getting those nerves that we talked about, maybe did cause a few problems for them. But I still want to say, Waffle, that was a phenomenal steal to buy those extra couple minutes that could have gotten your team back in. And that was a phenomenal job, mate.
I mean, you could see the struggle at the end. They definitely tried to keep themselves into it. It's just very unfortunate that, they pretty much lost the game a lot earlier on, right? Midnight. We just saw the guys, from Wavell just being just too strong from it. It's from that draft phase. And I did bring that up as well in the champs. Like, it did feel like the guys from Marsden, you could see an idea of what they wanted, but into the opposing draft, right? You could see from the get-go that they were fighting a losing battle, and unfortunately, when they weren't able to get that early mid-game advantage, which is what they were looking for with that team comp, everything just fell out from under them, and that kind of sucks to be, especially so when you're one game away from making that final stage, and it's potentially your last opportunity as well. So very unfortunate for them, but big ups going to Wavell State High as well. Again, we saw them last week in a great matchup. They just missed shy, but they were able to come back here this week. Fresh new roster, fresh new mindset, and get themselves a nice win here and get themselves into the final stage. But guys, we are getting ready now for our second game just around the corner. It is going to be QA SMT against Mac CG as well. I'm done for the evening, unfortunately. It's been great being here with you, though, Midnight, as always. And, of course, being here with you guys. So, man, I hope you enjoyed all the action here for game number 1. But you'll be joined once again, by Formal coming back here to pick up the mantle as well. And you'll get the Formal Midnight Joy that you might be used to seeing a little bit more of. So, look forward to that one. But that's it from me. We'll see you guys very, very shortly for our second game matchup here. Again, a reminder, these two teams are battling it out here for the final position. So I'll see you guys very, very shortly after this short break. So get ready for that second game.